What if I told you that over 60% of American men report feeling stressed about money every single day, even though most of them work full-time jobs? Today we'll break down the real reasons behind this stress, why it's not your fault, and what you can do to start taking control of your financial life. Meet Jake, a 32-year-old man living in a mid-sized American city. He works a 9-to-5 job in marketing and pulls in a decent paycheck. Sometimes he puts in extra hours, but every month still feels like a struggle. Rent, car payments, student loans, they never seem to end. Rent, car payments, student loans, groceries, utilities, credit card bills, they never seem to end. Jake often wonders why it feels like he is working harder but never getting ahead. He isn't lazy or careless. Yet like millions of American men, he feels trapped in a financial hamster wheel. This is the reality for most working men in the US. Financial stress doesn't come from not earning enough. It comes from how money is managed and the structure of financial systems. Jake's stress starts early each month. He checks his bank account, sees how much money went out, and worries. He worries about whether he can cover unexpected expenses like car repairs or medical bills. This constant worry builds anxiety. Most men rely solely on active income, earning money only when they work. Hours worked equal dollars earned. Miss a day and money stops. This dependency creates stress because survival depends entirely on constant effort. Jake thinks earning more will solve it. When paychecks increase, expenses often increase too. New gadgets, bigger rent, a nicer car, and the raise feels temporary. It is like filling a bucket with a hole in the bottom. No matter how much he pours in, it never feels full. Financial stress comes not just from bills and numbers, but from a lack of control. Every new obligation adds weight. Jake feels like he's carrying a heavy backpack full of bricks. Even if his strength increases, the load grows faster. Recognizing these patterns is the first step toward reducing stress. Jake begins to understand the root is often tied to control. He needs systems in place to manage his money effectively, so it works for him rather than controlling him. Small steps, like tracking spending or starting a micro-investment, can gradually ease the burden and build security. If you are tired of feeling trapped, the key is understanding that working harder alone won't solve the problem. Recognizing patterns, understanding income and expenses, and building systems can begin to reduce financial stress immediately. Jake begins examining his own habits. He notices a pattern. No matter how much he earns, he spends almost as fast as he earns it. Even worse, he sometimes borrows to cover gaps, thinking he'll catch up later. This is a major reason men feel stressed. After identifying that relying solely on his paycheck is keeping him stressed, Jake starts examining how he thinks about money. Every time he gets a paycheck, a mix of relief and panic hits him. Relief because he has enough for bills. Panic because he knows something unexpected could wipe him out. This emotional roller coaster is exhausting, and it's the hidden side of money stress many American men face. Jake begins to notice that his mindset influences his reactions. Scarcity, comparison, and immediate gratification dominate his thinking. He worries about running out, compares himself to friends with bigger houses, and chooses short-term pleasure over stability. He reflects on his friend Tom, who earns less but seems far less stressed. Tom tracks expenses, invests small amounts, and focuses on control. Jake realizes that Tom's calm comes from mindset and strategy, not income. Money stress often comes from perception, not numbers. Jake starts shifting from thoughts like, "I'll never get ahead," to, "I can grow my income streams and manage expenses over time." By reducing exposure to social media triggers, he can focus on his personal goals and financial growth. To reinforce this change, Jake begins tracking small wins, like automating $50 weekly into a micro-investment account. Seeing tangible progress gradually rewires his perception of money from something stressful to something he can control. Instead of viewing bills as burdens, he sees them as evidence of his responsibility and ability to manage resources. Over time, the dread he used to feel at the start of each month diminishes. Anxiety no longer dominates because he has control. After working on his mindset, Jake discovers another source of stress: debt and recurring bills arriving like clockwork. Debt is stressful because interest means the total can grow. Jake feels like he is working just to pay other people. For example, Jake owes $10,000 on a credit card with 18% interest. The minimum payments barely cover the interest. He runs, but never moves forward. Not all debts are equal. Good debts increase wealth, like student loans for skills. Bad debts, like high-interest cards, create stress. Monthly take-home is $4,000, but bills total $3,200. Unexpected car repairs push him over budget, triggering panic. To regain control, Jake lists all his obligations. He prioritizes high-interest debt first and sets up automated payments. Each small step gives him confidence that he can change his financial situation and reduce the pressure that once felt inescapable. After tackling debt and understanding his financial mindset, Jake starts to notice something important. Even small financial victories matter. These small wins create momentum, which gradually reduces anxiety and builds confidence. Jake understands that you don't need to be rich to reduce financial stress. You need to take deliberate, strategic steps, even if they seem minor. He starts by automating a small weekly transfer of $50 into a savings account. At first, it feels insignificant, but within a month, he sees $200 growing, which gives him a tangible sense of progress. He also identifies unnecessary subscriptions and spending habits that don't add value, cutting them out to free up money for savings and debt repayment. Jake starts an emergency fund. Even starting with $500 provides a psychological cushion, reducing anxiety about unexpected expenses. Jake notices that having this safety net lessens the dread he used to feel. Jake applies the principle of micro-progress, small, regular steps that accumulate over time. The $50 weekly savings, coupled with careful budgeting and small debt repayments, gradually changes his financial situation. The feeling of being trapped diminishes because he has systems in place. Each month, as he sees savings grow and debt shrink, Jake feels a sense of control and empowerment. By now, Jake has tackled mindset, small wins, and debt management. But he notices that relying solely on his 9-to-5 job still feels risky. One unexpected expense could wipe out months of progress. Building additional income streams is critical. He sees his primary job as a single tap of water. Adding side income is like opening additional taps. The more taps, the less risk of running dry. Jake starts small. On weekends, he takes freelance writing projects that earn $100 to $150 per article. He also sets up micro investments, contributing $50 a week to dividend-focused ETFs. In addition, he creates a simple online guide that he can sell with minimal ongoing effort. Within months, Jake notices two major benefits. First, he experiences psychological relief, knowing that his income no longer depends entirely on his job. Second, he begins to see financial growth helping fund savings and future opportunities. He observes the compounding effect of even modest earnings. His $50 weekly investment grows steadily, his freelance earnings add up, and his digital products bring in small but consistent revenue. He starts seeing money as a tool to build freedom rather than a constant source of stress. He feels empowered to make financial decisions with confidence. Every small step, freelance projects, automated investments, digital products, adds up to a stronger financial foundation and a calmer, more confident approach to money. After setting up side income streams, Jake begins thinking about how to make his money grow more effectively. He reflects on his father and uncles, who worked hard their whole lives but never invested. They lived paycheck to paycheck, even with higher salaries. Jake doesn't want to repeat that pattern. To reduce long-term stress, he understands that money must work for him, not the other way around. Unlike his job or side gigs, investments can generate returns passively. He starts small, contributing $50 a week to a low-cost index fund with a 7% annual return. After 10 years, this modest, consistent contribution could grow to around $41,000 without extra effort. Jake also learns about compounding, the process where investment earnings generate their own earnings over time. He imagines compounding as rolling a snowball down a hill, small at first, but growing faster and faster. He sees that small, consistent contributions are far more powerful than occasional large deposits. Compounding works best over years, not days, and consistency beats trying to time the market. He builds a diversified portfolio, spreading investments across low-cost index funds and dividend stocks. He sets up automatic contributions and reinvests earnings to maximize growth. Jake establishes a simple rule. Every extra dollar from side income goes 50% toward debt repayment and 50% into investments. This ensures progress in both security and growth. One evening, Jake checks his investment account. While the total isn't life-changing yet, he feels proud and empowered. The anxiety he used to feel diminishes because he knows he is actively building something. Through this process, Jake realizes that true financial freedom comes from creating systems where money earns money. It is not about working harder or longer hours, but about establishing habits and letting compounding do its work. By the end of this stage, Jake understands that investing, combined with disciplined saving and side income, is the key to reducing financial stress and achieving long-term security. Even small, consistent contributions grow over time, creating both wealth and peace of mind. Start your journey today.